This is probably the most important Roger Stone interview I've done of 40 or 50 we've done the last 16 months. Of course, he's worked in 4 major administrations, been involved in 9 major campaigns. He was the former head of the Trump campaign, and now his business partner is the head of the Trump campaign. But he's separated from that and gives us his own unfettered analysis of what's going on. And unlike so many other pundits, he doesn't tell me what I want to hear, what you want to hear. He really is giving us raw analysis. He gives us the best info I've ever seen on elections and what's coming and what's happening. And I talked to him about 2 weeks ago off record. I said, I've talked to some Trump connections and people, and they say that he's really actually ahead in some battleground states and neck and neck in other areas. He said, well, yeah, those are accurate polls, but there's other polls, and it's basically dead heat. But he said in the next few weeks we'll know more with more polls. Well, those polls have come out now, confirming what I knew 2 weeks ago and told you. Politico, he's gone ahead in a bunch of states over the margin of error. We're going to talk about that with Roger Stone. We're going to talk about what's coming up in Cleveland next week and so much more. We just got news minutes ago that this has never happened before. They've shut down all airspace for the entire conventions 30 miles out. They only do it the day of, for whatever, and there's no specified issue to stop us with the Hillary for President banners. We're just going to fly them earlier now. They'll probably extend it out more days. We're going to follow her around. We're not stopping. That's only to make me work harder on it. But we had to sue twice. Stone had to sue twice just to fill you in. Just to be able to have this rally coming up Monday that Bikers for Trump are going to be at. And a lot more. CNN's reporting on it. This is the key kickoff. You need to be there, folks. We're going to be there live. Roger Stone, thank you for joining us. I know you're a busy man. Wow, so much is going on. Where should we start first?
Well, it's an exciting day, Alex. I'm glad to be back with you. I got to tell you the truth. The only reason I'm able to be with you today is living defense and brain force. That's how exhausted I am. But I've never been more excited about any campaign I've been in, and that includes the Ronald Reagan campaigns, which I'm proudest of in my entire career. We are literally on the verge of taking our country back. And as you said, Trump is now pulling ahead, or even in a number of key battleground states. The FBI giving Hillary Clinton a pass. That's not a plus, that's a minus. She may not be going to jail right now, but this has hurt her very badly with the voters because it reinforces the fact that she's inherently dishonest, untrustworthy, and an elite for whom the law just doesn't apply. So even as we speak right now, Jeff Sessions, great patriot, U.S. Senator from Alabama, Newt Gingrich, the former speaker, and Mike Pence are set to sit down with Donald Trump in Indianapolis. Senator Sessions and former Speaker Gingrich are either on their way or have just arrived there. I still think it may be a day or two before we have the candidate's final decision. Only one man knows who's going to be selected for this ticket. And of course, that's Donald Trump. Now, many years ago, former President Richard Nixon told me, on the basis of his own mistakes, look, he said, Stone, don't look for somebody who can help you. Just find somebody who doesn't hurt you. Find somebody who is solid, sure-footed, good policy background, not flashy, but somebody who doesn't hurt you. I think that's sound political advice because in recent times, literally in the last 100 years, with the one exception of Lyndon Johnson, I don't think you can point to any vice presidential candidate who has actually mattered. This race is going to be about Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton. Now, yesterday, the Clinton people purposely floated a rumor that she was looking at a retired admiral for vice president. We have figured out that this is an attempt to bait us in the Trump camp into the selection of General Mike Flynn. I think Flynn is a great man. I think he'd be a great addition to a Trump administration. I'm not sure, with the exception of Eisenhower, that generals are particularly cut out for politics because...
But he was already near the top of the list. I mean,
he was, and it's very clear that Donald has a very high regard for him.
And he is the general that came out and exposed that when he was the head of Defense Intelligence, that Obama was running ISIS and Al-Qaeda. I mean, he's amazing.
No, he's a gutsy, courageous guy. He's a patriotic American. Now, it's interesting that the mainstream media reported that he was a Democrat and that he was, and they construed his comments to say that he is pro-choice.
But he says that's not true now.
Well, in fact, I have, and I will send this to Infowars.com, I have found his voter registration record.
Please send it right now. That's huge.
Virginia. First of all, Virginia has no voter registration, so one cannot be a Republican or a Democrat. However, he has voted in a prior Republican primary. CIA Director Flynn, Defense Secretary Flynn, I think he's headed for great things. My own opinion, and this is just my opinion, is that we're probably down to former Speaker Gingrich or Mike Pence, a solid conservative from Indiana. I have my own favorite. I have given the candidate my own private advice. I'm not going to divulge that because you know that is my policy. I would have preferred Jeff Sessions. Frankly, I think Sessions has taken himself out of it, but he may also end up in a Trump cabinet. I think the reason he's headed to Indianapolis is because Donald Trump values his advice so much. So we're very close. It's very exciting. Trump, ever the showman, tells the New York Times yesterday, there may be a few people on his list that have not been publicly reported. And as you know, he is the king of public relations and how to get covered. So we're hunkered down waiting for a decision, but we won't know until the candidate himself makes a decision. And my own personal view is, as this moment, I'm not sure a final decision is made.
That's why he's meeting with the three. He's probably also seeing if they'll work with him, if he picks one of them and the others are then put in cabinet positions. Here's my issue. I don't like to be Machiavellian. I certainly can do it just as good as anybody can. Kind of almost ashamed of myself for that fact. I can get in that headspace at a pretty deep level. But obviously at a sick level, I'd like him to pick Gingrich because the establishment wouldn't be so scared because of Ginrich's globalist connections. I've read his writings. I mean, this guy on the surface is this populist conservative, but I mean, he really is the guy that gave us Boehner all of it. He's got some major problems, but I see the fact that that might make the establishment might not, be as scared of Trump. Then I worry about Trump getting assassinated if he puts Gingrich in. So in a Machiavellian way, I say, okay, I want Trump to win. I hate Hillary so much. Go with the Gingrich. But just, I tell you, it'll be the first thing Trump's done that is establishment-esque. If he does, I would like a Sessions, even if it's politically incorrect, and they try to, attack him from Alabama or stuff 40 years ago, or, somebody like a General Flynn. Now, that's my take. What's your take, Roger Stone?
Well, you're almost reading my mind, Alex. When I used to bring up Gingrich with former President Nixon, he would just snort and say, Rockefeller guy, which tells me a lot. Newt did run Nelson Rockefeller's campaign in Georgia in 1968. So my own personal view is I agree with you. First of all, I love Jeff Sessions. He would be my first choice. But I'm for whoever Donald Trump is for. And I put my total faith in Trump. I don't think we're going to get a globalist. I don't think we're going to get somebody who doesn't adhere strictly to the Trump agenda.
Oh, yeah, they're licking their lips, man. He brings Gingrich in, that fox sitting there smiling at him like he's a big fat hen. I mean, Trump's got to be, I know Trump's smart. He's crazy if he puts Gingrich in. That's my view.
Nobody recognizes this, but I don't think any candidate for president in our lifetime has wanted to be upstaged. And I think Newt may have that tendency. He's a very smart guy. He's a very glib guy. In fact, I can't think of any subject on which Newt doesn't consider himself an expert. So, Trump, I think, understands the correct role of the vice presidential candidate. There is one caveat, and that is traditional wisdom would say, well, you want an attack dog. You want a guy who will take the partisan attack to the Democrats and specifically to the Clintons. And we know that Newt Gingrich can get under the Clinton skin. I would counter argue that Trump's own pugnacious style makes that unnecessary. He's not afraid to take on the Clintons. He's taken them on ad nauseum, and he's going to take them on.
Sure, you can also argue he knows all the Washington insiders, and he suddenly, the big money will come to him, but that's going to come with strings.
Well, look, this campaign's never going to be funded by big money. It's never going to be funded by Wall Street. What's amazing is that in the month of June, the campaign raised $51 million, mostly from small donors. the 25s, the 100s.
Let me raise this with you then. Roger Stone's our guest, StoneZone.com. What do we do to reach out to the Sanders people? I don't see how they stole the delegates. They stole the superdelegates. They robbed him. They chose that Hillary would win the day before with Voter News Services, the AP. The primary was a simulation for Democrats. How could Sanders supporters, a good chunk, 30, 40%, how could they not vote so they at least, in the institution of voting, how could they let a new Politburo, the Democratic Party, the Central Committee do this? I mean, it just seems like that we've got to target them with common sense and go, what is your problem? The big money you claim you hate is all against Trump, both parties. And now Sanders has rolled over. You've got to go for Trump.
Yeah, I think one of the keys, of course, Alex, is picking a running mate who was not a cheerleader for the Iraq War. The opening here is that Trump and Sanders are alike on two major issues: war and trade. And I think that is the key to winning those voters. Now, I can't tell you how disappointed I am to see Sanders himself endorsing Hillary Clinton, because it means that everything he said in his campaign about values and progressive values and principle, it was all BS. Bernie Sanders, with his Doc Brown hairdo, turns out to be just another corporate whore, just another slave for Wall Street. Very, very disappointing. I thought that at least he was a man of principle, perhaps leftist principles, but not motivated by money and greed and power, motivated by an ideology, misguided as it may be. It turns out that he's just another hack politician. I should have known, because he's never been off the public payroll in his entire life. And for all of his great talk, he's been on the Veterans Affairs Committee in the U.S. Senate for 30 years. How are veterans doing in America, Alex? Not too good. So he's a disgrace. He's a part of the system. He's a career politician. And I must sadly say his entire campaign was all talk. It was all BS. Very, very sad. I do think that we can still reach out to his voters on the basis of war and peace and on basis of trade. They know that these globalist trade deals that only Donald Trump in the Republican primary had the guts to oppose have sucked the jobs out of America. And I think it's one of the key winning issues.
Well, I tell you, Stone, I couldn't disagree. I couldn't disagree with anything you're saying. Obviously, Trump is super savvy, has the angles covered. This is history coming up. And I just am begging everybody out there who are Democrats. I get a lot of your policies. I agree with some of them. I understand when you're compared to Republicans in the past, hey, you're a Democrat because Republicans have been so corrupt. I mean, look at George W. Bush. He's shameful. Stone's been exposing him for over a decade. I get it. But, man, I mean, if anyone doesn't see that tyranny can come in any package, any party, and the Democratic Party is a criminal organization going for broke, completely arrogant, disconnected from reality. The Russians have put out press releases saying, we've never been scared of an American president or nominee. We are scared of Hillary. We are preparing for nuclear war. We don't want to get involved in your elections, but you're involved in ours internally. America, please. I mean, Putin begs the media at these conferences, begs them, because he knows it's Hillary and Soros literally that have troops battling Russians on their border right now in 3 different countries. I mean, this is entered crazy town level. Hillary is a megalomaniac. She must be stopped.
I totally agree. Alex, we have really good intelligence today that there are 10,000 professional agitators on their way to Cleveland. I'm not exaggerating that number. We have documented it. So they are looking for a conflagration. And therefore, it's more important than ever that if you are a Trump supporter, number one, come to Cleveland. It's going to be an extraordinary rally on Monday at 11:30 at Settlers Park. Alex Jones is the headline speaker. The new rock sensation, the Liberty rock sensation, Kate Koptemko will be performing. You're going to have major speeches. I intend to speak. There's a star lineup of speakers. We are girding for confrontation. It is essential that we turn the other cheek. It is essential that we not engage with these.
And by the way, I hate to interrupt you. I had a family kind of emergency about a month ago, and I dropped the ball on this. I was contacted by someone that's high level in the media in New York. And he said, Alex, you got to call me. And I've known the guy for years. He goes, I'm in these meetings at major newspapers. They're planning to set you up with a false flag, to do bad things in your name. Trump, it's horrible. And I mean, I've known this guy for years. And I'm so used to this. I'm so punch drunk. I just, yeah, okay. I'm, you know, and I meant to call him and I forgot. You were just saying that. And I remembered he's called me like 4 times going, look, you got to call me. They're planning. They're organizing it. It's serious. And I'm going to call him at the end of the show today. But, I mean, that's the thing. And I don't know how you keep track of all of it. You're saying you've documented it as well. This is so scary that the Democrats have got all these evil wind-up toys that may actually do anything because they've been told they're going to be given the backing of the Justice Department and others. Listen, the Justice Department's going to hang you out to dry if you try stuff, okay? But are you getting the same intel? Because what I'm getting is it's going to be false flags. Racist literature, attacks, you name it.
Right. No, they're going to have people dressed up as Klansmen. They're going to have people dressed up as Nazis. They're going to be having people wearing Bernie T-shirts who are not Bernie supporters. You know, it's very, very transparent. This morning, I had an emergency call from the Citizens for Trump. We are going to have to raise another $15,000 for security. Remember, this is an open park in which anyone can come to our rally, and we have very real security concerns.
Sure, I personally have hired, I mean, off-duty sergeants that are in the police department for me, and I never get security, folks. And we've got former special forces people, you name it, but this is real.
Yeah, I have had to do the same thing. I've had to retain 2 former Navy SEALs to provide my own personal security. I have a book signing at Barnes & Noble on Tuesday on Euclid in Cleveland for my book, The Clintons' War on Women, a book you can buy on InfoWars. If you buy your book on InfoWars and bring it to Barnes & Noble, I'll be proud to sign it. I'll be happy to sign it. But I've had to lay on security for that public appearance as well. So, look, we know what they're up to, and we're going to have to call them out on it.
Well, the good news is Bikers for Trump's going to have thousands there, and they say they're going to be all over them, and the police are there as well. And obviously, no, this is a foreign takeover. Even if the city's run by globalists, I'm told high level, the police know exactly what's going on.
Well, not only that, but it's not just the high-level police. It's the low-level police. I can't.
That's what I'm saying. The high-level folks are bad. The low-level are good.
I can't tell you how many individual officers have told me on the QT quietly, I'm 100% for Trump. I'm so glad you guys got your permit from the city. So, look, I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be historic.
This is history. You're going to get to actually face the enemy, folks.
The other big fight in Cleveland, which I think is very important that I want to bring to the attention of your listeners and your viewers, is the fight over the plank regarding the 28 pages of the congressional inquiry into
Let's talk about that straight ahead. Back in 70 seconds, 5 more minutes with Stone, if he can do it. Stay with us. All right, he's with us for 15 more minutes. The Dr. Group's coming in studio today. We've got so much news to cover. I want to take your phone calls. The intimidation of the left, the bullying, the Black Lives Matter, all over the country, their leaders saying, let's kill cops, get your guns out. If they give you a problem, kill them. That's illegal. And again, these are useful idiots financed by the globalists to totally splinter the country. I am so sad for Americans that are trying to live in peace with each other. This is going to create so much institutional racism in areas that are still white-run or whatever against black people and others, and then vice versa. It is setting the stage for another 50 years of infighting and garbage. It's so destructive and evil. Obama outplaying race card. He knows exactly what he's doing. They're trying to cause a civil war in this country. Meanwhile, the 28 pages, Trump says he will release them. Total courage. Trump talks about how we have economic surrender to the globalists, how Hillary's a communist agent for the Chinese. I mean, he's the guy the populace should be supporting. Roger, go ahead. Sorry.
So, Alex, as you probably know, the subcommittee of the Platform Committee yesterday, at the direction of the Trump forces, passed a plank calling for the release of the 28 pages of the congressional inquiry into 9/11. Now, this is core Trumpism. This is the issue that drove Jeb Bush from the race. Donald Trump courageously said in South Carolina that if he became president, this material would be released. The Bush people worked the full committee, and yesterday the plank was, to our surprise, rejected. So here is my suggestion. If you are a Trump supporter, you can call Donald Trump's office at 212-832-2000, leave a message, a respectful message, Let Donald Trump know you stand with him on this important issue and that it must be in the Republican platform. Let Trump know that you're with him on this.
Sure, let's go further. Let's just have Trump come out and say the truth. Hillary's run by the Saudis and the Chinese communists, and a lot of the Republican leadership are too, and Fox News is part owned by the Saudis. And just bring it out. Say, you're Saudi agents, you pieces of filth.
Well, and I have written for Breitbart and talked about here at InfoWars, also written for InfoWars. I'm convinced that Huma Abedin is Hillary's Saudi handler. I think she's an agent, an asset for the Saudis. Her background indicates that. Her financing indicates that. And as you probably know, the Clinton Foundation has taken in excess of $10 million, probably closer to $25 million from the Saudis. Senator John McCain recently took $10 million for the McCain Foundation from the Saudis. You won't hear him calling for release of the 28 pages that Senator Bob Graham, a great patriot, has already told us, former chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee. He has read the documents and he says they prove the Saudi royal family and their retainers financed the attack on this country on 9/11. So this is a flashpoint issue. By the way, if you're an Arizona voter, remember that, because you have an upcoming Republican primary, and Kelly Ward, his challenger, a fine woman, a medical doctor.
Now, we've got to get rid of McCain.
Has called for the release of the 28 pages.
That's right. You know, how's she doing? I mean, she's got a chance to beat McCain. He stole so many elections.
She's got a real shot. She's running a very good campaign. And this is one of the key issues. John McCain left Arizona a long time ago. John McCain represents the District of Columbia. He is an inside the Beltway favorite of the media. There was a time when he's a conservative. He is no conservative any longer. And his position on this issue is a disgrace.
And he's buddies with George Soros and you know, vacations with him. I mean, that's all you need to know right there.
Now, a very good friend of mine, a journalist, a conservative woman journalist who you see on television every night, attended the Sun Valley confab of the beautiful people of the financial elite.
Hold on, I want to get the inside baseball with Roger Stone in the final segment with him straight ahead. Stay with us. Cleveland's going to be huge. Start your engines. All right, folks. Infowars.com will have themes, and I don't call for these themes, but you can see a theme daily. And the theme up there today, just from different writers and researchers, none of us talked beforehand, is massive leftist intimidation, death threats against people that support Trump, death threats against people that are going to go out and speak for Trump. An article by Kit Daniels where they've now, for the first time ever, done a 30-mile exclusion zone for the entire RNC and DNC, so we can't have aircraft flying around with Hillary for president. Well, I got a guy that's got a national company. We're going to follow her around big time. Don't worry. But it shows the censorship. They stole the nomination from Sanders. And now we've had death threats. We can't name all the names of people that aren't going to the rally on Monday of Americans for Trump that Roger Stone is headed up, that is all over CNN, all over Fox News today as the first big rally that has the bikers for Trump who aren't cowards and others coming. But Diamonds and Silk, who we've had on the show, great ladies, you know, the hilarious black ladies have been supporting Trump for a year and a half. They have bowed out because they've been death threatened. And other people have been death threatened. Obviously, you know, that just goes with the territory. This is the type of cowards we're dealing with. Look, the rally is just for free speech. We're all over the internet. We're all over media. We'll be in and outside of the convention. We'll have all the big interviews. No one's stopping anything. We're going to do this rally because the Republicans tried to steal the nomination from Trump and are saying they may still try it. We're there to show what filth you are and how you'll try to censor us and how you're the ones that are violent. That's what boosts Trump in the polls every time. The media tries to act like it's both sides. No, it's not. So we win by engaging you. You don't win by running some people off. I mean, they're sweet ladies, but like we need Diamonds and Silk or like we need a Mike Ditka or somebody. It isn't about who's there. It's about you're there, free speech. It's about going out there in the face of the city saying we couldn't have a demonstration, in the face of the Democrats trying to block us on the RNC and having to sue them twice and winning in federal court. Freedom isn't free. It's not easy. Roger Stone.
With the help of the ACLU, there's the irony. Look, my hat is off to the people at Citizens for Trump, Tim Salati Sr.
Citizens
and
for Trump, yes.
Citizens for Trump and Kathleen Flaherty. Fine people, real patriots, and they have put blood, sweat, and tears into this rally to make it a giant.
Yeah, people say, why do it if it's so hard? They're trying to make it hard so we don't do it and steal our First Amendment. They'll get the second, they'll get the fourth, they'll get the 10th. People need to be there. You need to get aggressive. And everybody needs to promote this rally and promote the videos that come out of it to show their attempt and their failure. Roger?
I totally agree. Look, you can't blame the ladies of Diamond and Silk. They are courageous. They're hilarious. They've been a huge asset.
Oh, of course we don't blame them. But how dare people threaten women?
It's an open park. There's no perimeters. There's no mag machines. There's no way to search people. So I can't blame them whatsoever. I'm speaking. I'm going to stand up there. I realize I'm taking my life in my hands, but I believe in free speech.
I'm standing with Donald Trump and Roger Stone and every other man and woman that have stood up in history. If we are a nation of cowards, we will be ruled by wolves. Everyone must be there, and don't worry, we are going to have massive security.
Absolutely. This is going to be very, very exciting. In fact, I think historic, Alex, and I urge anybody again who can get to Cleveland, take a bus, take a cab, walk, hitchhike, take a plane, take a train, get to Cleveland and be part of history. Stand up and be counted. This is all about the numbers. We need a massive historic crowd at Settlers Park in Cleveland, 11:30, Monday the 18th. Be there to be a part of history.
Well, it just makes me angry to see this attempt at intimidation. But, you know, this is what's made so many people, even Democrats, start going for Trump when Hillary openly is above the law, or when they do see Sanders being robbed, his voters being robbed of their votes, or when we see the BLM folks and the other leftist groups beating up innocent people. Again, it's really showing the authoritarianism of these people.
Well, look, I must tell you, I had a conversation with Tony Fabrizio, who is the Trump campaign pollster, who, for my money, is the most incisive, literally brilliant, and combative pollster and survey researcher in the Republican Party. He's a libertarian, as we are, and he's a pessimist by nature. That's just Tony. He's gruff. He's hard-nosed. He likes what he's seeing in these state polls. This race is moving our way because of Trump's forthright stands and because of Hillary's continued exposure as a stone-cold crook who would steal a hot stove. And Tony is a guy who's never optimistic. It's just not his nature. But this is within our grasp. If we will just mend the barricades, do the hard work. We need to register 1 million new voters in the 10 swing states. We're working on that. This is the most exciting thing I've ever been involved in, and I go all the way back to Ronald Reagan. But this is our last best chance to take this country back. I'll see you in Cleveland.
All right, my friend. Thank you so much for all the time. Roger Stone, I know you've given over $15,000 just for the rally. I've given 10 because I believe in free speech. I'm going to give an additional 5 because we're getting even more security. I want to thank Bikers for Trump. Everybody else is going to be there. Again, it's not. I don't think it's that big a danger, folks. Driving down the highway is more dangerous. What's dangerous is not being involved. What's dangerous is letting these scumbags intimidate you. What's dangerous is giving into fear. I'm afraid of giving into the fear, and I never will. And so I want to salute Roger Stone. You can clearly see Hillary is starting to get back on her heels. Roger is not a pessimist, but a serious realist. You have privately told me that you did think Trump was behind about a month ago, pulled, you know, to dead heat 2 weeks ago. Are you saying you believe he has now pulled ahead?
I think he's ahead in a number of key states. Let's take Florida. Now, I'm not giving away any Trump campaign information, but I have seen private polls that roughly a week ago, he may have been as behind as far as 8 or 9 points, as I recall. A more recent survey, one that I trust the methodology, I trust the sample size, I trust the pollster. I stress again, this is not a Trump campaign poll, now shows Trump behind by 1 point. And still lacking the traditional Republican base vote in the southernmost market, which is the Miami-Fort Lauderdale media market. where the Republican establishment, frankly, has taken.
Sure, and let's be clear, getting back to Cleveland, I'm going to let you go so you have to go, Roger. Coming up next week, we have to be there so our voices are heard in the media for populism and anti-globalism and nationalism. They're going to have the Soros scum running around unabated, taking over all the coverage of what's happening inside, working with the RNC leadership. Now, I know up until now they've still been trying dirty tricks. Is the RNC leadership finally getting halfway in line? Because I know he supposedly, when he becomes the nominee, takes control of the RNC.
Well, it's very, very hard to say. When Donald made it very clear that he had an extraordinarily high regard for General Flynn, we know that the national chairman, Reince Priebus, went out of his mind and protested very strongly that we couldn't nominate Flynn because he was, quote unquote, a Democrat. Well, we have his voter registration. He's not a Democrat. There may be Democrats in his family, may come from a family of Democrats. Has Reince never heard of conservative Democrats? Let's be very clear. Donald Trump has to get between 15 and 20% of the Democrats to win this election. And there are many fine, patriotic, liberty-loving Democrats in this country.
Sure, but he's shown himself to be a nationalist, a patriot, you name it. So that's, and he stood up to the Saudis. I mean, that's who we want.
Exactly. So, look, I'm for whoever Donald Trump is for vice president, but I would be shocked if General Flynn does not have a major role in a Trump administration because he's proven himself to be a man with guts. And that's what Trump wants, somebody with courage, somebody who isn't part of the broken, failed establishment, the Bush-Clinton consortium that has made themselves very wealthy while they've made the American
And the bullying left thinks they own demonstration and own the media. You don't. We're not going to do like the other so-called conservatives and go to sleep or sit there and cry because we're scared of you. We're patriots. We're libertarians. We're the real liberals. We're coming to Cleveland. We're taking over the media. You're not going to stop us. And all the circuses they pull are only going to backfire. One last question. What about the calculus of Obama and Hillary coming out before the cops are dead and saying white people better listen up? You know, this is why this has happened, when this is almost a non-existent issue. It's totally manufactured. I'm not defending police issues. You know, I'm a big critic of it. But why are they doing this when it looks like the calculus is turning people against Hillary? I mean, are they just totally disconnected?
No, I think this is very clear. Look, in 1992, Bill Clinton ran on a strategy of moving the Democratic Party back to the center, at least rhetorically and from an image point of view, and trying to pull back white, moderate, and conservative Democrats in the South and West. And running against the hapless boob, George H.W. Bush, one of the worst presidents in my lifetime, he was successful. Obama's strategy was quite different. Maximize leftists, labor, and African Americans. That is the strategy. Hillary has adopted that strategy.
Okay.
So they will pander as much as they have to. They don't want the votes.
Okay, Roger Stone, StoneZone.com, out of time. Here's the news breaking here, though, today. Sessions and Gingrich and others are meeting basically in Indiana. Nobody else knows that. That's happening right now. That's huge. We got to get an article out on that.
Also, the entire Trump family, the Trump children, who I have the highest possible regard for, Ivanka, Donald Jr.
And by the way, that just broke an hour after you told us. I hope we write an article about it. Thank you for breaking that with us. The other big breaking news, several breaking things here today. Roger, what were the others? So much of it.
Well, the epic fight over the 28 pages. Again, call Donald Trump at 212-832-2000 and respectfully tell him you stand with him on the 28 pages. They must be released.
All right, and the other news, obviously, is that Sessions is probably going to bow out himself, but we'll see. Thank you, Roger. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.
People desperate for staples like milk, rice and flour stormed a supermarket warehouse in Guyana City.
If you go back to 2007, the British Ministry of Defense came out and echoed a Department of Defense report saying that they believe there would be massive multi-100% food price increases worldwide. And that during that global meltdown, that there would be incredible social unrest that would depopulate much of the earth. Now, Vice magazine and other publications are reporting on a 2015 report produced by the U.S. government, the UN. Cut. Let's stop it right there. I shot that video, that special, about a week and a half ago, before Hillary Clinton was basically given free rein in the United States of America to break any law she wants. Before more news came out of food riots intensifying in Asia, Latin America, Africa, the Middle East, you name it. Before we got more news of NATO plans to encircle Russia with more troops. Bottom line, ladies and gentlemen, the world financial economy is melting down by design. Everything the globalists are doing is about making us dependent on them. That's why, declaring personal independence, I am announcing that we're extending the record sales of 20 to 40% off on water filters and X2 Survival Shield, and of course, the survival food. I'm extending the 20 to 40% off for one more week, and then that's it. But I'm expanding it when it comes to non-GMO heirloom seeds, all sorts of systems to jump your car or to give yourself power during emergencies, and on solar panel systems, and on shortwave radios that are solar powered and crank powered. So we're going from a few dozen items that are discounted to more than 100 right now at InfoWarsStore.com, and we're running it right through to the beginning of next week. It is the biggest sale ever on preparedness and survival systems, because the globalists want us totally dependent on them. We need to be independent ourselves, or at least start that journey. But there's another aspect of this that makes it an absolute no-brainer. When you get the high-quality non-GMO seeds, open pollinated heirloom, when you get high quality water filtration systems massively discounted, or nutraceuticals, when you get high quality storable foods, you're not just making yourself more independent, you're also funding InfoWars, that is just breaking international news every day and really giving the globalists a major run for their money. So you don't just get great prices, you don't just support the InfoWar, you support yourself and your family at the same time. It's an absolute no-brainer. I want to thank all of you that have come to InfoWarsStore.com and who have supported what we're doing, and I want to encourage those of you that haven't, check it out today. It's a total 360 win at InfoWarsStore.com.